You know that feeling when you open an email and your stomach just drops? Like you weren't expecting bad news, but suddenly you're staring at numbers that don't make sense? Well, if you're a CFO using NetSuite right now and you just got your 2026 renewal notice, I'm guessing you know exactly what I'm talking about. Welcome to the Ledger Labs podcast. I'm Gary Jain, and today we're tackling something that's causing panic in finance departments across the country: NetSuite's 2026 renewal pricing. And more importantly, we're going to talk about what you can actually do about it. Joining me today is Marcus Rashford. Marcus is an ERP migration consultant who's helped over 50 companies make the jump from NetSuite to alternatives like Odoo. Marcus, thanks for being here.
Hey Gary, thanks for having me. Yeah, my inbox has been interesting lately. A lot of CFOs in panic mode.
I bet. Okay, so let's just rip the band-aid off. What's happening with NetSuite renewal pricing in 2026 that's got everyone freaking out?
Okay, so here's the thing. NetSuite has always been expensive, right? Like, that's not news. But what's happening in 2026 is different. Companies are opening their renewal quotes and seeing increases of, and I'm not exaggerating here, 30 to 50% year over year. And it's not gradual. It's like you hit a certain revenue threshold or user count, and boom, the pricing model just shifts.
Wait, hold on. 30 to 50%? That's not an adjustment. That's a gut punch.
Yeah, it's a gut punch. And here's what makes it worse. You're locked in, right? You've spent the last 3, 4, 5 years building your entire financial infrastructure on NetSuite. Your team knows it, your workflows are built around it, your integrations are live. So when that renewal email comes, you're not just looking at a price increase. You're looking at what feels like a hostage situation.
Okay, so for anyone listening right now who's in that exact situation, and I know some of you are, what's the first thing running through their head when they see that number?
Oh, I can tell you exactly what they're thinking. First thought is, this has to be a mistake. Like, they reach out to their account rep thinking there's been some billing error. Second thought, we can't afford this. And third thought, we're trapped, aren't we?
And that third one is the scary one, because once you feel trapped, you start making decisions out of fear instead of strategy. So let's talk about why this is happening now. Like, what changed? Is this just Oracle squeezing margins, or is there something else going on?
Yeah, so there are a few things happening simultaneously. 1. Oracle acquired NetSuite back in 2016, and they've been slowly shifting the pricing model to align with their enterprise playbook. That means higher per-user costs, more module fees, more premium support upsells. 2. They know the mid-market is trapped. If you're a $10 million, $20 million, $30 million company, switching ERPs feels impossible, so they're banking on that inertia. And 3, and this is the part people don't talk about enough, they're trying to push smaller customers out. They want enterprise clients paying $500K, $1 million annually. If you're paying $50K or $100K, you're not their priority anymore.
So they're basically saying pay up or get out.
Exactly. And for a lot of companies, that's actually the wake-up call they needed.
Okay, if you're listening to this and thinking, yep, that's me, I just got my renewal notice and I'm spiraling. First of all, breathe. You're not alone. This is happening to thousands of companies right now. And second, stick with us, because we're about to walk through a real alternative that's working for companies just like yours. Marcus, let's talk about Odoo.
Okay, yes, let's do it, because this is where it gets interesting. So, Odoo is an open source ERP platform. And when I say open source, I don't mean clunky or limited. I mean fully customizable, modular, scalable ERP that can handle everything NetSuite does at a fraction of the cost.
All right, but we've all heard the cheaper alternative pitch before. What's the actual difference here? Like real numbers?
Okay, real numbers. NetSuite typically runs $125 to $150 per user per month. Odoo starts at $25 per user per month. So if you've got 20 users, you're looking at $2,500 to $3,000 per month on NetSuite versus $500 per month on Odoo. Over a year, that's $30K versus $6K.
That's an 80% cost reduction.
80%. And that's just licensing. When you factor in implementation costs, support, and customization, the gap gets even wider.
Okay, but here's what every CFO is thinking right now. What am I giving up? Because if Odoo is that much cheaper, something has to be missing, right?
Yeah, fair question. So let me be transparent here. Odoo isn't NetSuite. It's not trying to be. NetSuite has been around since '98. It's mature, enterprise grade, and Oracle has poured billions into it. But here's the thing. Most mid-market companies aren't using 80% of what NetSuite offers. They're using financials, inventory, maybe CRM, and a handful of reports. Odoo covers all of that, out of the box. And because it's modular, you only pay for what you need.
Give me an example, like a real company that made the switch.
Okay, so one of my favorite recent cases is a company called SISU. They're a manufacturing company, robotics, based in Texas. They were on NetSuite for years, and then they got their 2025 renewal quote. And it was significantly higher than the year before, like enough to make the CFO call an emergency meeting. So they reached out to us, and we told them, look, we can migrate you to Odoo in 90 days if you're aggressive about it. They said, we don't have 90 days, we have 45.
45 days? That's insane.
It was insane. But here's what made it possible. Their team was technical. They understood their data. And they were motivated because NetSuite's renewal deadline was breathing down their necks. So we did it. 42 days. Migrated their entire ERP, inventory, manufacturing, sales, accounting, everything to Odoo. And the result? They went from paying over $100K annually to under $20K. Same functionality, same workflows, just way, way cheaper.
That's incredible. Okay, but I'm sure it wasn't all smooth sailing. What were the challenges?
Yeah, so the biggest challenge was change management. Because even though Odoo does what NetSuite does, it doesn't do it the exact same way. So their team had to relearn some processes. The UI is different, the navigation is different. And for the first 2 weeks, people were frustrated. But by week 3, they were like, oh, this is actually easier. And by week 6, they couldn't imagine going back.
That's such an important point, because I think a lot of CFOs hear migration and immediately think my team's going to revolt. But it sounds like it's less about the tool and more about the transition support.
100%. If you migrate without a plan, without training, without ongoing support, yeah, it's going to be painful. But if you do it right, it's one of the best decisions your company will make.
All right, so if you're sitting here thinking, okay, maybe Odoo is worth exploring, let me ask you this. How do you know if now is the right time? Because switching ERPs is a big deal. You don't want to jump just because you're mad about a renewal price. You want to make sure it's the right strategic move. Marcus, what are the signals that tell you, yes, this company should migrate?
Okay, so I've built a framework for this. I call it the 7-day evaluation. Because here's the reality. When you get that renewal notice, you've usually got 30 to 60 days to decide. And you can't spend all 60 days researching. You've got to move fast.
Okay, walk me through it. What happens in those 7 days?
All right, day 1. Inventory your usage. Sit down with your team and ask, what NetSuite features do we actually use every day? Not what you could use, what you do use. Most companies find they're paying for 20 modules and only using 5.
So it's an audit, basically.
Exactly. Day 2. Calculate your real cost. Don't just look at the renewal quote. Factor in implementation costs you paid 3 years ago, support fees, customization costs, training, everything. Get the true total cost of ownership.
And I'm guessing most companies don't actually do this math.
Oh, they definitely don't. And when they do, they're shocked, because suddenly that $125 per user becomes $200 per user when you factor everything in. Day 3. Research alternatives. Don't just look at Odoo. Look at Acumatica, Sage Intacct, Microsoft Dynamics, whatever fits your industry. But be realistic about what you need.
And what should they be looking for in an alternative?
3 things. 1. Does it cover your core workflows? 2. Can it integrate with your existing tools? And 3. Can you implement it fast? Because if it's going to take you 9 months to migrate, you might as well just eat the NetSuite renewal for another year.
Right, timing matters.
Timing is everything. Day 4. Talk to migration experts. Not salespeople, experts. People who've actually done this 20, 30, 50 times. Get their take on your specific situation.
And what's the difference between a good migration partner and a bad one?
A good one tells you if migration is a bad idea. A bad one just wants the deal. If someone's pushing you to migrate without asking tough questions about your team's readiness, your data quality, your customization needs, run.
Fair enough. Okay, day 5.
Day 5. Get buy-in from your team. Because here's the thing. You can have the best migration plan in the world, but if your accounting team hates change, it's going to fail. So sit down with your key stakeholders, walk them through the why, show them the cost savings, address their fears.
And I imagine that's one of the hardest parts because people get attached to the tools they know.
Totally. But you'd be surprised how quickly people come around when you say, hey, we're saving $80K a year, and we're going to reinvest some of that in training and support. Day 6. Build a migration timeline. Be realistic. If you've got a clean data set and a technical team, you can do it in 60 days. If your data's a mess and you're relying on consultants, plan for 120.
And what about day 7?
Day 7. Make the call. Yes or no. Migrate or renew. And here's the key. If you decide to stay with NetSuite, that's fine. But make it an active decision, not a passive one. Don't renew just because you're scared of change. Renew because it's the right strategic move.
That's such an important distinction because I think a lot of CFOs renew out of inertia, not intention.
Exactly. And that's the trap. That's how you end up paying $200K a year for software you don't even like.
All right, so if you're listening and you're in the middle of this decision right now, I want you to do something. Pause this episode, go grab a notebook, and write down those 7 days. Because this is your roadmap. And if you need help, reach out. Seriously, whether it's to us, to Marcus, to whoever, don't make this decision alone. Okay, Marcus, before we wrap, I want to talk about the mistakes. What are the top 3 things companies screw up when they migrate?
Oh man, okay. Number 1, they don't clean their data first. If you migrate garbage data from NetSuite to Odoo, guess what? You've got garbage data in Odoo. So before you migrate, audit your data. Fix duplicate records, clean up your chart of accounts, archive old vendors, make it clean.
So it's like moving houses. You don't pack junk you're never going to use.
Exactly. Mistake number 2, they underestimate training. You can't just flip the switch and expect your team to figure it out. You need structured onboarding, documentation, ongoing support. We always recommend at least 2 weeks of dedicated training post-go live.
And mistake number 3?
They rush. They panic because the renewal deadline is looming and they try to do a 90-day migration in 30 days. And it falls apart. Data gets corrupted, integrations break, people quit. Don't rush. If you need to renew for 1 more year to do the migration right, do that. It's worth it.
That's great advice. All right, Marcus, last question. If a CFO is listening right now and they're on the fence, they got their renewal notice, they're stressed, they're not sure what to do, what's the one thing you'd tell them?
I'd tell them this. You have more options than you think. NetSuite wants you to believe you're trapped, but you're not. Take a breath, do the 7-day evaluation, talk to experts, and make the decision that's right for your business, not for Oracle's bottom line. You've got this.
I love that. All right, Marcus, thank you so much for being here. This was incredibly valuable.
Thanks for having me, Gary. This was fun.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. If this episode resonated with you, share it with your CFO friends. because I guarantee someone in your network is dealing with this exact situation right now. And if you want to dive deeper, we've got a detailed guide on our website, plus we can help you through the entire process. Check us out at theledgerlabs.com. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and remember, you're not trapped, you've got options. We'll see you next week.